Venezuela is not for one entrepreneurs. Today we discuss.
Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com.
I believe if you're on internet and you're interested in business, investing, entrepreneurship, and so on, you're gonna come up with a lot of content regarding entrepreneurship. That this particular content is addressed towards people who are not entrepreneurs or unsuccessful entrepreneurs, and they sell you this entrepreneur porn that is with the Lamborghinis and the travels and the fake private planes and so on. And you see a lot of content that sells you this get rich quick schemes, and they sell you courses about crypto, and there's a lot of noise, and there is a lot of fake things going on in the internet regarding entrepreneurship, because they sell you mostly the lifestyle instead of the nitty-gritty of becoming an entrepreneur, especially a successful entrepreneur. And you see the culture in places like, for instance, in Miami, a lesser degree in Dubai and so on, because, well, Dubai, you need to be rich, kind of, in order to live there. But places like Miami, that you see the rented Lamborghini, the Rolex that it was bought with a credit card and on a high interest rate, on a rented luxury property, a luxury condo, the VIP bottle services on the clubs over there in South Beach and Brickell, and so on. And this fake rich lifestyle that you see in all over the world, and they try to sell you some crap and some courses or something of that nature in order to get rich as well. Now, if you come to Venezuela with this fake rich entrepreneur mindset, you are going to be very, very, very unsuccessful here in the country. And let me explain you why. First, Venezuelans are very street smart, and they can tell easily who is fake rich and real rich. And Venezuela, of course, most Venezuelans have been impoverished on the past 10 or 15 years or so. But also in Venezuela, we have a lot of rich people. So Venezuelans can tell easily who is real rich and fake rich. And the issue here is that the people that you're going to see they are rich here, they are not faking being rich. They are rich. In Venezuela, we don't have credit. We don't have access also to mortgages or any way of renting something that you don't have the network in order to own yourself. For instance, you cannot rent a nice property, or a nice condo, a luxury property, just paying on a monthly basis. Usually when you rent a property here, especially a luxury one, you have to give a large deposit, you have to pay many months in advance, and so on, and you need some financial statements in order to prove that you can cover the property. I mean, you can cover the expenses and so on. It's not handing out key for 1 month deposit. It's not going to work. Now let's go with the cars. One of the main issues is that we didn't have new cars here in Venezuela until recently. Now we have a variety or a handful of the new cars, and that's great. So this is one of the biggest issues for the average Venezuelan. Now we have more options on the new car market. So just only owning a new car, you can signal that you have purchasing power. Of course, most of the time, these cars are going to be paid straight up cash. And the people who get some financing in order to get a new car usually have a great balance sheet, have to pay the car, like half of the car has to be paid in advance. And then if you get it, on a credit, it's just for a couple of years, the credit, and with a high APR. So if you want to purchase a car just straight up in credit, it's most likely not going to happen, because you need to have certain financial status in order to get a new car. I'm talking a regular new car. If you want a luxury car, it's going to be way, way more difficult, because usually those cars cost like double or 50% more that it costs on a Western nation. many cases, you have to import the car yourself. It's going to be more expensive. In the cases that those cars are sold in the country, you have to pay a premium in order to get such cars. So the main issue is that you cannot lease or rent with just a handful of a few dollars, get a nice car in order to fake being rich. So the people who own those cars are actually rich or on a great financial position. And the last thing is that getting discretionary spending here in Venezuela, the discretionary stuff is kind of expensive for the average Venezuelan. So if you want to go to a nice restaurant or a nice trip and so on, the options are from high middle class and up. And usually you pay a premium for that if you take, the context of the average Venezuelan. So it's going to a nice restaurant, going to a nice trip and so on is going to be expensive. Not more expensive than the United States, depending on the case, of course. But the main issue is that if you want to cover bills and so on, you really do need to have money and just not fake it for paying a meal or two. And lastly, in order to actually be financially successful in Venezuela, you have to be a very, very special individual. Most of the wealthy people that you're going to see here in Venezuela are either, I discussed this many times, the enchufados, the Venezuelan oligarchs, basically, and rich kids. People who inherit the business from, of course, their parents and grandparents that inherit assets they created such wealth, such assets when making money in Venezuela was way easier. I'm talking 70s, the 80s, probably earlier than that. And the only thing they have to do is they have to manage their assets. So, okay, very good for them if they are managing assets successfully. Or most likely, these people don't have the mindset of a real entrepreneurs because they are not wealth creators, they are wealth administrators at best. And in order to be on this tiny minority of the real successful entrepreneur, you have to be a very, very, very special individual in order to actually get wealth, create wealth, be wealthy, doing it just by yourself. Remember, in Venezuela, you have a very impoverished population with not a lot consumer discretionary consuming power. And also you don't have as much of rich people. And also the thing is, imagine the Venezuelan population in a funnel, the 3,000 wealthier Venezuelans live a completely different life than the rest of Venezuelans. Afterwards, you have like 3 million people of the population, maybe less, that have like a high middle class standards of living. And afterwards, you have very impoverished people, of course, depending on the echelon. They're going to be impoverished, but covering the bills, making ends meet, and you go lower and lower, the situation is going to be more dreadful for them. So the bottom line is, if you really want to when you're here in Venezuela and you are actually financially successful, faking that, is no way around faking that because reality is very difficult. And in order to actually be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be very, very special on what to do or taking a lot of risk. I'm talking wealth from scratch. If you come and you're successful abroad, that's a different thing. But if you come here in the country and you want to fake it till you make it, it's going to be very, 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 very difficult in order to fool possible business contacts, business opportunities, and so on, because the average Venezuelan can tell straight away who is a real entrepreneur and who is a one entrepreneur.
Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Thanks again and have a nice day.